Khan Shalom, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bashima, Shakwam, Allah, Yahweh Shah. That's all praises on the glorification unto the Most High God, Yahweh. In the name of the Lord, God, Yahweh Shah. This brother Yasha Allah coming back, y'all. Yet another video through the Spirit and power, Yahweh, Bashima, Shakwam, Allah, Yahweh Shah. All right, I'm gonna get straight into this, right? Just going into the book of Job, the 7th chapter. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I'm going to go through a few verses within it, right? So let's go to the book of Job, chapter 7, verse 1, right? It says, "Is there not an appointed time to man upon earth? And are not his days also like the days of a hireling?" Right? The days of a hireling is really going into what? Because remember, a hireling is a hired servant. Now, a hired servant, they weren't servants. It's kind of like like an indentured servant. They're not supposed to be servants all their lives. Like how you would put but you can put in captivity, right? According to the book of Leviticus, right? You could literally have a heathen put in slavery forever, right? Until that heathen damn dies, right? But you could literally a hireling, right? Let's go to the book of the years of an hireling, right? Remember, a hireling is not his years upon that he's hired is not very great, right? I'll put it like that. It's not a great amount of time, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 16 verse 14, right? It says, "Now the Lord hath spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be condemned," right? Or contemned with all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. So the Lord said, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling. So 3 years is not a very long time. You see that? And a hireling will only be what? Hired for about a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it may be, but it's never forever. It's never a very long time, right? It's always a short period of time. Right, let's go to this other precept, Isaiah 21:16. "For thus hath the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of an hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fail." So it's, again, the Lord is saying, according to the days of an hireling. So a hireling is just a hired servant that would be hired for about, a certain small amount of time, right? So let's go back to this. What is Job saying? Job chapter 7 verse 1. "Is there not an appointed time to man upon earth?" Right? Everyone is appointed to die and to be born at a certain time, right? Everything is appointed. This shows you predestination in the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 8, right? Everything has a time and a place. It says, "There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit." So sometimes what this is saying is, remember, the spirit has dominion over your spirit. And this spirit is talking about the spirit of the Most High. So you don't have power over the Most High spirit. Whatever he wants you to do, that's what you're going to do. Even in terms of what? Making a video. If, the Lord put in my spirit to go into the book of Job, the 7th chapter. Hey, I didn't do that of my own self. I didn't do that of my own spirit. And the Lord just told me, right? Or just basically made me go into this, right? No man have power over the spirit to retain the spirit, right? Neither hath he power in the day of death. So you don't have power in the day of death. You cannot. If the Lord said, right, or ordained that you should die by a car accident, then that's what's going to happen. You can't just avoid that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have any power in the day of your death. And there is no discharge in that war. Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. So everything has a time and a place. The Lord said that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter, that by measure hath he measured the times, right? And so the Lord has measured the times and weighed the world in the balance. So everything is for it's a appointed time, right? There's guess what? There's an appointed time for Esau to reign, and there's an appointed time for Esau to fall. And there's an appointed time for Jacob to rise, and there's an appointed time for Jacob to fall. So there's an appointed time for everything, right? It's like Job 7:1. "And are not his days also like the days of an hireling?" Our days upon earth is very swift and few. It'll tell you that in the book of Psalms as well, right? Our days upon earth is like what? The dust. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to one precept real quick. Let's go to the book of James, chapter 4, right? James chapter 4, right, in verse 14. "Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life?" So James is saying, hey, what's your life? It is even a vapor that appeared for a little time and then vanisheth away. So that's our life. It's just like a little vapor, right? A little smoke, a little smog, a little steam, right? Coming up from the water, metaphorically, and then it passes away after a short moment of time. Your little 100 years, a little 90 years, a little 70 years or whatever, however however long you may live upon this earth, is nothing to the Lord. It's nothing to compare to what? Eternity. It's nothing compared to Enoch, to Adam, for example, Methuselah, etc., etc. Some of our forefathers that lived for a very, very long time, right? It's nothing to them, you know. Certain men, they almost live for 1,000 years, right? So 90 compared to 1,000 it cannot even be compared, right? For example, just putting that out there. And also, in the kingdom of heaven, wouldn't be living forever. We're part of that number. So our days right now, it's not we don't live for very long, and especially the average age in which people die is even going down in certain places, right? Because of all the damn smog and the polluted earth, right? But let's go back to Job 7:2. As a servant earnestly desireth the shadow, and as an hireling looketh for the reward of his work. So a servant, and this is going into a slave, right? Just like how the slave would earnestly desire the shadow. He earnestly desires to get out of the heat. He earnestly desires to get out of the sun that he's been working in for all day, right? All day. He earnestly desires the shade, the shadow, right? And as an hireling looketh for the reward of his work, right? So am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. Now, what does this mean? Of course, on a physical level, Job was going through misery. He was going through pain. He was going through tribulation, right? And also temptation, right? That's, just read from Job chapter 1. He'll tell you that, all right? It'll show you that, how much distress that he was going through. But now, on a physical level, that was happening to Job. Now, on the spiritual level, right? Let's apply the spiritual aspect. Because remember, the secrets of the Most High is double to that which is. That's Job chapter 11, verse 6 on down, right? Meaning that it also has a spiritual, basically application. So let's go through that, right? Job chapter 7, verse 2. As a servant, which is a slave, earnestly desireth the shadow. And who's the slaves, right? Who's the slaves? We know that, hey, guess what? We're the slaves, the Israelites. We're in captivity, right? Both to Esau, right? Both to the spiritual demon Satan, And we're in captivity right now, in the heat, right? It says what? And as an hireling looking for the reward of his work. Guess what? We're looking for the reward of our work as well, right? We look to get our reward. Because remember, a hireling, he's hired. And the Lord, he hired us, through the Spirit. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 20 to show you that. Right? And he'll further explain this as well. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 20 and verse Matthew chapter 20 and verse, I'm gonna just start at verse 6. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? Why, they said unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall you receive. So the Lord hired us. And this is really in verses 6 through 7. It's really talking about us so-called newcomers actually in this truth. Because you've been in the truth 3, 4, 5, even like 7 years, you're still like considered a newcomer in this thing. Because there's been elders that have been in the truth since they've been in the truth for about 25, 30 years, some even 40 years, so that is actual, that's, a long time compared to what your 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. That's a long time, because we at the 11th hour right now. We at 11:59 on the spiritual clock, and it's about to become midnight, right? And we understand that when you link that up with the book of Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 on down, that midnight is when Yahweh Shah comes back, right? But so let's go back to this, right? Job chapter 7, the verse, right? 3. So am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. Also on the spiritual level, what could Job be saying to the spirit? Because in certain cases, we represent Job, right? Let's go to the book of James, chapter 5, right? And in certain senses, we represent Job. How that, I'm going to get it too, but let's go to the book of James, chapter 5, verse 6. And ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Be patient, therefore, right, brethren, right, Slaki. Let me go down. James 5 and 11, right? I'm going to start at verse 10. Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering affliction and of patience. You see that? So the prophets of old, man, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Habakkuk, right? Jonah, Joel, Hosea, right? Amos, Haggai. The prophets of old, they're literally examples, right, of what suffering, affliction, and of patience. Remember, everything that was written aforetime was written for our learning. That's why we have to be reading these accounts, man, right, of our righteous forefathers, our righteous prophets, who literally suffered for the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, right? Let's go, verse 11. What's a prime example, right? And basically what James is also saying is, and Job is a prophet, man, because he prophesied about Yahweh Shah standing upon the earth in the latter time, But let's go to James 5 and 11. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy. Right? So literally Job is one of those prime examples, right, of suffering affliction. And in a certain sense, we also represent Job, because just like how literally Job went through that suffering, that persecution, not really persecution, but suffering, affliction, and tribulation. Guess what? At his latter end, he greatly increased. Let's go to the book of Job, right? Chapter 4 and verse 8, right? Job chapter 4, verse 8. Right? I want to start a verse. Right? Let me see where I want to start at. Right? Right? Okay, hold on, real quick, right? Let me get this precept. Right, this is the book of, Job 8 and 7. It says, though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase. You see that? So literally, though Job, he started off as small. Literally, Bildad is prophesying that. Job, he had a great abundance, but it's nothing compared to what Job had at his latter end. Because when you go to the book of Job, the last chapter, it will tell you that after all that affliction, after all that pain and tribulation, right, and anguish that Job went through, both physically, mentally, and spiritually, guess what? He had double to what he had before, and was increased abundantly. So just like how us, right? We didn't start off as having a lot, man. We don't have a lot in this world, physically. We don't have a lot, we don't even have a lot of knowledge. The Lord only gave us a little knowledge. But literally in our latter end, we're going to greatly increase through the Spirit. Lord willing, part of that number, right? Lord willing, we're going to come back with our sheaves with us, rejoicing, man, and being very, very bountiful, in the kingdom of heaven. That's when we get our reward, Lord willing. That's when we're going to greatly increase and have double to what we had before, double the amount of wisdom, if you have ears to hear, double to our riches, double to everything, man. We're going to be blessed, like just how Job was blessed for enduring the pain and the tribulation, right? So on a sense, we represent Job. So let me go back to this. Job chapter 7 and verse 4, right? Okay, in verse 3, I just want to add it real quick. Hey, where some nights are appointed unto us as well, right? And the servants of the Lord, we have to stay up. We have to deny the flesh. You know what I'm saying? We have to go through pain and tribulation. Where are some nights, man? Even on a physical level, we have to be studying, right? And our flesh may not want to. Our flesh may be tired, right? But we still got to do that video. Where some nights are appointed onto us. You know, you might be at camp, damn, 1 a.m. You know, you might be at camp at 12 a.m. That's a wearisome night onto you because you've been standing there for about 6 hours, right? You've been standing there 6 hours. You know, you're getting weary through this. You're getting weary in your flesh. But guess what? Wearisome nights are appointed onto you, man, right? So we have to endure this thing. It is what it is sometimes, man, right? Verse 4, when I lie down, I say, when shall I arise and the night be gone? And I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. So when we lie down, right, we say what? When shall I arise and the night be gone? That's what we're saying through the Spirit. When is the night going to be gone, man? Right? And we're living in the spiritual night if you have ears to hear, right? Let's go to the book, right? Just remember, the night is when what? Literally, you have, because there's, Salakia, let me just get this precept, right? Right, this is the book of Job, chapter 10, verse 21. Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and of the shadow of death, a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is as darkness. So we're in that land right now, Babylon the Great. We're in this world. There's no light in this world, right? There's no truth in this world. It's dark, cold, you know, if you have ears to hear. We're in the spiritual nighttime. You know, demons are out here, right? Evil is out here, wickedness. We're in the spiritual night because we don't have the sun, which represents what? Righteousness and the Most High with us, right? We don't have the light. You know what I'm saying? Right? We're in the spiritual night, right? We're in the spiritual nighttime. And so literally us, we're saying, hey, when is Yahweh Shah going to come back? Right? Let's get a precept to show you that the Lord represents that light. It's the book of Matthew, Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and he shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. So the Lord, literally on a on a spiritual level, the sun is going to arise. What do you think that means? Right? The sun is going to arise upon you. Right? It says the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. That's going into Yahweh Shah. He's known as that sun, right? Because guess what? Right now, it's night. When it's nighttime, guess what? The darkness prevails, right? And darkness is prevailing in this society right now. You know, wickedness is prevailing, not righteousness. You know, that's how you know what time we're living in. It's the spiritual night, right? But let's go to Job chapter 7 verse. Let's go back to this. Job 7 and 4. When I lie down, I say, when shall I rise and the night be gone? When is the night going to be gone? When is Yahweh Shah going to come back, man? Right? And I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. Right? And we're full of tossings to and fro, man. We're going through affliction. We're going through pain. Right? We just want the sun to come up, man. Right? We tired of the night. Certain times, you know, you might be sick in your bed. You might wake up at 3 a.m., you know, you're tossing to and fro. You can't go to sleep. You try to read something. You know, you might get a little tired. Turn off the light. You can't go to sleep, though. You're just going through pain. Your stomach hurting. Hey, that's us through the Spirit, right? On a spiritual level, on a metaphorical level. We're tossing to and fro, right? We're going through pain. We're going through affliction. We hate the night. We want the sun to come back up, right? So that we may have heat. So that we may have happiness, you know? So that we may have peace, right? Unto the dawning of the day. Remember the dawning of the day. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 4. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, and verse, right, I'm going to start at verse 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light, and that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. What's the perfect day? That's when the sun comes up, right? In righteousness. That's going into the kingdom of heaven. That perfect day. Let's go to the book of First Peter, right? I believe this is First Peter 1. Okay, right? This is the book of First Peter. Okay, I believe it's Second Peter then, right? This book of Second Peter, chapter 1 and verse 19, right? We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. You see that? So we waiting for that day to dawn, man. The kingdom of heaven, right? That's when the sun is going to rise upon us. If you have ears to hear. So that's why Job, Job goes in through the Spirit, right? It's the book of Job, chapter 7 and verse 5. My flesh is clothed with worms and clouds of dust. Clouds of dust, my skin is broken and become loathsome. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope. Oh, remember that my life is when mine eye shall see no more. Slaki, my eye shall see, shall no more see good. You see that? So, with that, I just wanted to go through those verses because, the Lord put on my spirit to go through those verses and see how it's also on the spiritual level through this, through the power of the Lord, man. Right? Because remember, things in the scriptures, it's not just physical; it's also double to that which is, right, and vice versa. But with that, all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Lord willing, this was edifying, brother Yasha Allah. Shalom.